Hi everyone, welcome on my video. I'm Thomas from Okto. Today I'm really happy. I can share with you my big project, the ArcadeBoy. What is an ArcadeBoy? It's a Game Boy, a DMG, just with a new body and some features. I started to work on this project 2 years ago and I made a first version only with wood and glue. But as I want to be able to reproduce this machine, I started 8 months ago to work on 3D printing in order to do this. So I want to explain you quickly how does it work and how I've made it. This way, I hope I will see plenty of ArcadeBoy all around the world in the next couple of months. Basically, it's a Game Boy, so you can only play original Game Boy games with it. I put a backlight screen and a Mainboard board. Of course, we can imagine to use an IPS screen in the next months. Like for a classic Game Boy, you have A and B button. You have this joystick instead of the D-pad. You can find start and select here and the headphone jack. On the side, you have the micro USB for charging the battery. On this design, I use a DS-Lite battery. You can use any 3.7 battery you want. You just need to adjust the 3D model in order to fit your battery. You can see the game slot is still the same. We have the on-off switch at the same place than the original. And also inside you have access to all the wires and all the connection. It's really important because you will see later in the video that to put together the front PCB and the back PCB, we need to access by this gate. On the other side, you can see the contrast wheel and also the mini DIN connector. On another version, I also put an EasyVGA board just right here in order to have a VGA output. Unfortunately, those boards are really hard to have. That's why I made this version, which is not VGA output, of course, but I hope by working with some other model to have a proper output in the next version. Just have to wait a little bit. For the gamepad, you also need to print parts and make a custom PCB. You also need some extra button and extra speaker and some components. People may find some mistakes in my design or in the way I thought to make it. But it was 8 months project. I had to learn everything about 3D printing, PCB design, and I'm pretty happy about the result. Today I think it's now time for other modder, other people, other maker to build their own ArcadeBoy and to add their own features. So let me show you how I made it. First, we're gonna start with the main board of the DMG. Here I need to finish the pivot board. But first, take off the headphone jack connection. We will use it later. We're gonna use pin 4 to pin 9. That's why I cut the pivot board. For wires, use about 20 centimeters and just solder them. With the first board, we will use the GST connector in order to connect those things. Quick tip, if you want to solder this, just plug the male connector, it will be easy. Once the GST are in place, you can now take care of the wires and put them in a dedicated points. We're gonna use the sound and the ground in order to continue to fill the GST board. extend the jack connection, the same order that on the main board. You can remove the original battery connector, we won't use them, and I will put this DS-Lite battery with a classic 5V 1A charging board. You can also choose to use micro USB tip B or tip C, doesn't matter. Just solder the battery and we're gonna continue with the headphone. Remove the 4 original wires and use the GST connector. Now that the headphone is good, we're gonna continue with the panel board. Here you need 2 things. Put the GST connection on it and also the diodes. Nothing special, just as for the first GST, be sure to choose the good wires. Now you can use the diodes and pay attention to the way you need to put 2 on the board are not on the same way. So start with the 6 first diodes in this direction and finish with the 2 other in the other direction. After that, we're gonna take care of the mid-in connection. It has to go also to the GST and later in the Gamepad. My advice here is to be sure about what you do with wires. You have 6 wires for the pins of the Game Boy and you also have 2 wires for the sound. To avoid shortcut, I use hot glue only in this situation. It's time to go with those wires on the GST board and be sure to choose the right wires regarding the schematic we've done. For the Gamepad, you need to have the back side of the shell, because the wire, here I use RG45 cable, it's the best in my opinion, because you have the 8 wires we need, and before making any solder on the Gamepad board, you need of course to put the wires inside on it. This is not the funny part, but with some patience you can go with the 8 wires and be sure to remind which color of the wires are going to the pin. The main connector is not big enough, so I decided to break this little piece, and once the hole is bigger, the cable is going straight as I want. We're good to go. Just be sure that you don't have any shortcut and start the other side to solder the wires regarding the schematic you just done. I put also hot glue to isolate wire, and at the end you only need to add a capacitor to reproduce the sound schematic on the original Game Boy. You need to solder it on this way. Once again, pay attention to the schematic and to the design of the board. Like for the panel, add some diodes and pay attention to the direction of those diodes. There are two different directions. This time it's 3 on one way and 5 on the other way. Finally, you can also add a speaker to this gamepad. Take some extra button silicone and the front of the gamepad. Be sure to clean all the 3D parts, just to be sure that everything will fit without problem, and start to fill the front. Add the board. Use the screw. It's the same screw I used in original Game Boy. And now that it's complete, just check that you don't have any default. When it's good, you can screw your gamepad. Looking good, baby. Time for a test. You've done a lot of modification. Do not forget to plug the headphone jack connector in order to test the music in the gamepad, and let's try if it works. It looks like. Yeah, that's great. I use Tetris to test it because it's a game where you can test all the 4 buttons. Select the start, A, B, and all the direction of the D-pad. I'm happy. Last but not least, you also need to add the select and start to the panel. Here, my first design was not a good one, so I decided to just review it, order new parts, and now I'm happy to say that in the zip file you will have, or you can download, it will be the good version of this start select board. Here, I just use an old DMG original and some glue. Don't pay attention. Then we can complete the front panel by using buttons, the joystick, like for the gamepad, that everything gets fit well without any issue. Here there is a hole and there is a way to put the joystick without issue. Like for every controller, add the silicones and the panel. You will only need 2 screws for the panel, as it. So once it's good, just screw it. And you can see that you only have to put 3 screws. With the thickness of the board and the 3D parts, it's normally fit very well. Time for the start and the select. And at the end, you also need to put the headphone. It's not the most easy screw, but you can do it.
Just to be sure, I make another test with the panel of the Game Boy. So I plug everything back together and make a quick test like I did before. It's look good too. We can continue. If not, you can also adjust if needed. Do not forget to have a speaker on the front PCB of the panel, and you are ready to go. Here I made a mistake. My advice for you is to put the GST connector of the panel board right in the hole of the capacitor, like I did here. It will be more easier for you to put all parts together. And you're good with the panel. You can add glass lens and be sure to check if it fits well. If not, just cut as I did, and normally it's all good. Once everything is in this place, we can continue and add few things in the back shell with the mainboard. Let's see. You may have to adjust the shell in order to be sure that the board fits well. Just cut some plastic if it's too big or if you have some issue, but it has to fit perfectly. Just like I did, do not forget to add the on-off button. My design includes a compartment for the DSLIT battery, so that's why my advice is to use this if you have. The little board just go like this. And with the ribbon connector, you can check if it's working well. We just finished the back shell and the main board. We only need the sides to complete the build. Clean the parts, be sure to not leave some support or some plastic piece. And start to screw the USB charging board. Here, it's something people can improve, I think. I decided to screw the GST board on the side, but as you can see, it's not easy to do. And plus, my tips here is to just screw like I did. You will have more flexibility with the cable when it will time to assemble everything together. You can start to screw the bottom of both parts. Here it's DSLIT screw. It's easy because you don't have any fittings right after you screw it. Screw the back parts like you do with the classic Game Boy. Be sure to adjust the parts and you're ready to go to add the mini DIN connection. It's normally fits just as it has. I use epoxy glue, that's the only time of the build I use glue. Maybe someone can find a way to lock this piece in this position. Actually, my advice is to glue it. Once it's dry, and it's quickly dry, you cannot connect the GST and do the final assembly. You need to go through the battery compartment in order to connect the ribbon cable. It's a little bit touchy because you need to play with it try to put it a little bit in the good way, in the good direction, then push when you feel it's the moment, and at one moment you win. Ha 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 ha. When it's good, just push the contrast side, then the bottom, and you will be able to screw all together. On the back, you need to put that on the support and you're ready to go. You have also 3 screws on the side. My advice is to make one by one, side by side, to ensure a good position. Last and final test. It looks like we did it.
That's it, you made it. You have your own ArcadeBoy. I hope you enjoyed the build. I hope you will enjoy this machine. Do not hesitate to leave me your feedback by adding a comment or contact me, because as I say, it's the very first project I've made and I'm sure people can improve the design, can add features, etc. So I will be pleased to see a lot of you printing their own ArcadeBoy and maybe have several versions in the future. And like someone I love say, and we will see you next time.